Herzlich willkommen zu unserem Webinar Elektro- und Elektronikmarkt in Estland, Lettland und Litauen. Mein Name ist Ingrid Valentini-Wanker. Ich bin die Wirtschaftsdelegierte für die baltischen Länder und gemeinsam mit meinem litauischen Kollegen Kęstutis Galusa vom dortigen Außenwirtschaftscenter freuen wir uns sehr, dass Sie heute live dabei sind. Welche Liefer-, Kooperations- oder Bezugschancen können Sie in den baltischen Ländern finden, trotz der aktuellen großen Herausforderungen? Heute wollen wir versuchen, darauf Antworten zu finden. Damit Sie dabei einen möglichst praxisbezogenen Einblick bekommen, haben wir einige lokalen Experten für Sie aus den baltischen Ländern eingeladen, die ich Ihnen jeweils vor Ihrer Kurzpräsentation vorstellen werde. At the moment, let me just very warmly welcome our local speakers. Bevor es fachlich losgeht, kurz ein paar organisatorische Bemerkungen. Wir planen einen Q&A-Block am Ende der Session. Wir bitten Sie aber schon im Laufe des Webinars, Ihre Fragen in den Chat zu stellen. Wir sammeln sie dann und diskutieren sie gemeinsam. Sollten Sie eine Frage an einen bestimmten Redner stellen, dann vermerken Sie das deshalb bitte bei Ihrer Frage. Wir werden den Q&A-Block in Englisch halten, aber Sie können Ihre Fragen selbstverständlich gerne auch in Deutsch in den Chat stellen. Bei eventuellen technischen Problemen ist dieselbe Funktion für Sie da. Da erhalten Sie dann natürlich sofort eine Antwort über das Chatfenster. Und was noch? Nach der Übertragung werden Sie kurz danach die Webpräsentationen bekommen. Sie werden einen Link für die Aufzeichnung bekommen. Und bitte füllen Sie uns auch den Feedbackbogen aus, denn das ist für uns wichtig, um zu wissen, wie wir in Zukunft die Veranstaltungen noch mehr Ihren Wünschen anpassen können. Bevor ich an die Experten übergebe, möchte ich Ihnen einleitend ganz kurz einen Überblick über die aktuelle Konjunkturlage, über die Bedeutung des Elektro- und Elektroniksektors für die baltische Wirtschaft und einen Blick auf den Stellenwert dieser Branche für die österreich-baltischen Wirtschaftsbeziehungen geben. Was wir bei der Planung des Webinars natürlich nicht berücksichtigt haben, sind die riesigen Umbrüche, die momentan stattfinden und die das wirtschaftliche Stimmungsbild leider nicht nur im Baltikum natürlich nachhaltig beeinflussen. Aber schauen wir zuerst auf die durchaus erfreulichen Ergebnisse des Jahres 2021. Im ersten Pandemiejahr ist es den baltischen Ländern gelungen, den Rückgang sehr gering zu halten und daher konnten sie 2021 sehr rasch über das Vorkrisenniveau bereits springen und ihren ehrgeizigen Wachstumskurs Richtung westeuropäische Standards fortsetzen. Konjunkturmotor war dabei wieder der starke Privatkonsum. Die Inflation blieb im Jahresdurchschnitt noch relativ maßvoll, aber gegen Jahresende schnellte sie auf europäische Höchstwerte von über 10% hoch. Was positiv ist, ist, dass bei der Staatsverschuldung alle drei baltischen Länder deutlich unter den Maastricht-Kriterien liegen und das, obwohl sie durchaus gezielte Covid-Unterstützungspakete lanciert hatten. Und für österreichische Unternehmer interessant ist auch das sehr gute Abschneiden der Länder im Ease of Doing Business Ranking, denn alle drei baltischen Staaten rangieren dort unter 190 Ländern unter den Top 20. Aber seit Kriegsbeginn ist alles anders. Speziell für die baltischen Länder, und das sieht man sehr gut auf der Karte, ist die geopolitische Lage sehr heikel. Alle Landgrenzen schließen an Russland oder Weißrussland mit einer kleinen Ausnahme von 80 Kilometern an der südlichen Grenze zwischen Litauen und Polen. Das volle Ausmaß der wirtschaftlichen Folgen des Ukraine-Krieges kann natürlich niemand voraussehen. Die Wirtschaftsexperten im Baltikum rechnen mindestens mit einer Halbierung der Wachstumsprognosen. Denn die Auswirkungen der massiven Sanktionen treffen die baltischen Länder stark. Die enormen Material- und Rohstoffknappheit durch Lieferausfälle aus Russland macht die Produktion sehr schwierig und die explodierenden Energie- und Rohstoffpreise heizen die Inflation noch weiter an. Es liegen also große Herausforderungen vor den baltischen Ländern, aber die Staaten sind sehr krisenerfahren und auch in der Vergangenheit haben sie zum Beispiel bei der großen Finanzkrise es sehr rasch geschafft, wieder die Einbrüche zu überwinden. Schauen wir jetzt konkret auf die Elektro- und Elektronikbranche im Baltikum. Der Sektor ist in den letzten 10 Jahren sehr stark gewachsen und zählt nun mit rund 10% Anteil zu den wichtigsten Industriezweigen. Diese Entwicklung wird auch durch EU-Fördermittel gestützt. Das sind die Strukturmittel, das sind aber auch die Mittel aus dem Recovery and Resilience Fonds, die zum Beispiel in die Stärkung der Stromnetze fließen werden. Zu den Elektrifizierungsprojekten wird Ihnen anschließend konkret Rail Baltica direkt berichten, aber auch die nationalen Eisenbahngesellschaften planen langfristig enorme Investitionen. Allein in Lettland ist da von 4,5 Milliarden Euro bis 2040 die Rede. Zumindest war das so bis vor dem Ukraine-Krieg. Und im Hinblick auf die gravierenden Versorgungsengpässe mit Halbleitern in ganz Europa sind die Pläne für ein gemeinsames Science Center mit Taiwan in Litauen interessant. Dort soll litauische Lasertechnologie mit taiwanesischer Halbleitertechnologie kombiniert werden. Und nicht zuletzt hat die Covid-Krise die Wichtigkeit des Aufbaus neuer Lieferketten innerhalb von Europa sehr deutlich gemacht. Die baltischen Staaten mit ihrer hohen technischen Kompetenz bieten da wettbewerbsfähige Nearshoring-Standortmöglichkeiten in der EU an. Die Frage ist nur, wie die russische Kriegspolitik sich auf das Investitionsklima der Region auswirken wird. Aber trotzdem bleiben die baltischen Länder für österreichische Unternehmen zur Ergänzung ihrer Wertschöpfungsketten im elektro- und elektronischen Bereich durchaus interessant. Das führt mich zum letzten Punkt, den österreichischen Handelsbeziehungen mit dem Baltikum. Insgesamt konnte der Warenaustausch 2021 stark steigen und nach einer leichten Delle wieder an das dynamische Wachstum anschließen. Die Elektro- und Elektronikbranche erreichte dabei in beiden Richtungen einen durchschnittlichen Anteil von knapp 10%. Und das bedeutet, dass bereits jetzt viele österreichische Unternehmen elektrische und elektrotechnische Produkte ins Baltikum exportieren, aber auch Partnerschaften zur Produktentwicklung oder zur Auftragsfertigung schließen und beim Sourcing Einkäufe im Baltikum tätigen. And now let me repeat this last point in English, as it nicely leads over to our local guest speakers. They are all willing and interested to look into opportunities for further cooperation between Baltic and Austrian companies, be it export, import, joint product development, or direct investment. We start with the most northern country of the Baltics, Estonia. It is my pleasure now to invite to welcome Mr. Arno Kolk to join our stage. Mr. Kolk is the Managing Director of the Estonian Electronics Industry Association, and we work regularly with him when we try to identify and find partners for our Austrian companies. Arno, the floor is yours.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Arno Kolk, and I'm indeed the Managing Director of the Electronics Industry Association in Estonia. Well, we have already seen the map, so everybody knows where Estonia is. We are quite happy with our location strategically in the middle of Northern Europe, between East and the West. But going into electronics, we have a rather long history of that, as long as electronics has existed in this world, because we started our first telephone production already in 1907 and have been producing and developing electronics ever since. Of course, we had to rebuild our industry in the 90s after the Soviet Union collapsed, and today we have the world-class electronics industry here in place, covering the whole value chain from R&D to manufacturing to after-sales services, and producing all sorts of things from robots to telematics, communications, and so forth. Now we are the important part of Estonian industry. Almost a quarter of Estonian industrial export is electronics, And we're doing it with just 12,000 people in our sector, and turnover has been roughly 2 billion over the past several years. And the key segments are professional, so it's telecom, infrastructure equipment, industrial electronics, automotive, medical, railway, aerospace, defense and security, and so forth. There is a little bit of consumer electronics as well. As you can see on the picture, we have several high-end audio manufacturers who are doing speakers, amplifiers, and other hi-fi equipment, and a bit of component manufacturing as well. For example, supercapacitors and inductive components. Very little in terms of semiconductors, though. We have over 250 companies in this sector, according to the business register. I'm sure that some names like ABB and Ericsson are very familiar to you. There are names which are perhaps less familiar. We have lots of manufacturing service companies, the Enix, Eolan, Incap, and so forth. There are several engineering companies, mostly local ones, and also companies who are providing the support functions here. And we would gladly welcome Austrian friends to join us. Now, over the last couple of years, the turnover has been rather stable, as much as has been possible in these turbulent times, but we haven't seen any major changes there. Of course, as everybody else, we're struggling with logistics, with component availability, raw material prices, and so forth. But we are rather optimistic in that sense, that we see also plenty of demand. So look at the trends over the past 2 years, and investments continue. So our companies have been investing into new equipment, in factory expansions, modernization. So we certainly believe into the future. And we see demand clearly there. So the 5G networks is one big source of demand. We have the only Ericsson factory in Europe here in Tallinn, and they've been busy shipping 5G network equipment to the whole world. We also see a lot of demand fueled by the green transition, because all these modern solar panels, wind parks, and so forth, they are full of electronics. It has to be built somewhere. Likewise, all other sectors also benefit from electronics through the better measurement and control. Well, you can see it in your car, for example, if you compare a car from 1950s and today's car. Well, they might look the same, but the fuel consumption has been reduced a lot thanks to better control and measurement. We also see that digitalization in all sectors needs more electronics. The product has to be smart and connected, and there to help. And as it was already mentioned today, we see that nearshoring and reshoring is really happening. Our companies see increased demand from the customers who are looking for ways to come back to Europe from Asia, China mostly, and this demand is real. Of course, we are facing supply chain challenges, component supply. As you all know, components are difficult to get. The prices are unstable there, so our sourcing and purchasing people are really busy trying to solve these issues. Production planning, of course, is challenging, but we cope pretty well. There's lack of containers, and there was increased freight costs. Now also lately, due to Ukrainian war, because Russian airspace is closed for many airlines, and it takes longer to fly fast goods over here. And sea routes were also disturbed for a while due to the Suez crisis. But what's important is that during COVID times, Estonia was never in full lockdown. Our industry was always operating. Yeah, tourism and restaurant sector was hit, but the factories were never really closed, and we worked as much as we could. Most people were on sick leave and taking care of children and so forth, but all the factories were always running. Now, as mentioned, we do invest into the future, opening new lines, and also working with the new generation, because we see that interest towards engineering and electronics in particular is there if we really address young people properly. And we have been doing special campaigns for to attract kids to study electronics in vocational schools and universities, and it has been working. We increased the number of applicants to Caltech electronics faculty 3 times, and yeah, young people are there if we address them properly. Not all are going to IT; they're also quite willing to come to electronics industry as well. And then, of course, we're working with them through the soldering competitions and all sorts of interesting events to keep the interest up. And one important sector in our electronics is the manufacturing services. Actually, EMS industry also existed even in Soviet times, already from the 70s. There were small plants which were providing manufacturing services for other factories and Academy of Science and other institutions. And in '92, the first Western EMS, Elcotech, started operation in Estonia, and I was building mobile phones and base stations in large quantities. It's the biggest European EMS, actually. And today we have over 20 companies providing the manufacturing services here in Estonia for electronics, as well as wire harnesses and cable assemblies. And our association is 10 years old, 12 years now. Actually, 75 member companies. Number has been growing, and you can always contact us if you need to find right partners in Estonia. We are here to help you with your questions. So, to summarize, what do we offer here? We can offer manufacturing services, mostly professional segments. We can offer engineering and after-sales services here in Estonia. And probably most importantly, we can help other sectors to digitize, basically to add brains and connectivity to all sorts of products to make them smart and connected. We also like to try new things here, so Estonia is a perfect test site for your new products or services. And being a small country, we have to be fast, agile, and resilient to get things done with small teams on time and on budget. You can always contact us, our website, our LinkedIn page. We'll be at Hannover Messe with Estonian stand. We'll be at Elektronika in Munich in November, and all our friends are welcome to attend our EMS Day here in Tallinn on the 1st of December. Thank you very much, and I'll be happy to answer your questions later on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Koch, for this great, brief, but comprehensive overview of your sector, and also for outlining the possibilities of cooperation with Austrian companies. We now move over to Latvia. I am happy to welcome Mr. Robert Lohi, CEO of Perusa, an important process engineering and equipment manufacturing company. He will share his success story in robotization and automation with us. Dear Mr. Lohi, let me invite you to take over the virtual micro.
Okay. Herzlich willkommen at Perusa. Perusa is process engineers and manufacturers of equipment, and we do this under our own brand name all around the world. You can see successfully implemented projects for the different industries, but okay, currently we represent how one company among other companies in Latvia can conquer the world with our products. Okay, we are rather normal European-sized company, 70 plus specialists, and mighty engineering bureau with mechanic engineers, mechatronic engineers, electronic engineers, robot engineers, automation engineers, electrician engineers, and so on, and manufacturing plant of everything that the engineering bureau has developed. We are we produce final products for industrial needs, as I said, under our own brand name. And there are some insight of what we have done. And in fact, we are ready to do very different products and very different projects. Yeah. For instance, this is robotized, automatized packing line for potato chips, huge production plant. Also, there is some very smart palletization systems, again customized for customers' needs. A different system where two independent production lines of product are delivers to one palletization station, and the line automatically decides what is coming and what recipe for palletization is needed. So this is rather very smart design. This production line we are really proud on. It works for Mercedes-Benz cars, and it assembles window and mirror control boxes. You know, in the doors you locate when you open windows and also move mirrors. This is produced by our production system that assembles, and it is very remarkable that this system just you switch among 4 different products just on changing on touch screen. So everything is pre-programmed and everything is done engineered, programmed, assembled, and manufactured by Perusa. Okay, this is for food industry. Again, this is with computer vision and smart decision how to package different products in order to obtain fixed weight combined from very diverse pieces of meat. Yeah, so you know that they are not uniform. There is not bolts and nuts. Yeah, you should be very smart in order to fill this. Yeah, and also this is a very important project where 2 cobots and one robot was combined for again smart packaging of diverse products coming from from several production lines. It is installed in Iceland. And this is very remarkable, very interesting how we solve this the whole system. We all usually receive some some not a precise technical task what we should do. Our client says, okay, the final result should be like this, and please provide complete solution. Why I am showing this? Yeah, because we are not wholesalers, and Latvia itself is not consuming, let's say, enormous quantities of electronic products, but still, yeah, you see a lot of products you can see incorporated here, not just by Perusa but also by other countries. Of course, there is fierce competition. There are already several or many suppliers of different products already presented in the market. But if the product is of decent quality, of precise quality, what is needed, okay, I think there is space for Austrian companies as well. Yeah, and of course we would be happy to consider some collaboration projects together with Austrian companies within the scope of our core competence, engineering and manufacturing of diverse lines. So we are small, all 3 countries are small. We are pretty similar, but with certain differences, but still, what Mr. Koch said about Estonia and what next will be said about Lithuania pretty much reflects also the situation in Latvia, and I can confirm that Latvian companies are reliable partners. And what is important, we are very flexible, because we are small, we have to be ready to achieve results by smart solutions. Okay, in general, I told you the success story of our company Perusa. Yeah, so you are welcome to meet us if you visit our website. Here you see also the completely different. It's a parcel logistics center, also done by us and programmed and everything. Yeah, so you see the capacity and competence of Latvian companies, especially Perusa, is pretty wide. And if you visit perusa.com, you would learn more about us and hopefully about Latvia as well. Latvia is a very reliable partner, like all other Baltic countries. Danke sehr für sein listening. Okay.
Vielen Dank, Herr Lohi. Nächstes Mal in Deutsch. Thank you for this insight into your recent projects, and above all, also for your openness for possible cooperation with Austrian companies. Now we move on, and in the next contribution, you will be briefed on a huge infrastructure project in the railway sector, which comprises all 3 Baltic countries and beyond. Rail Baltica will connect the Baltics with Europe in the north-south direction. And I'm pleased to welcome Mr. Antanas Snirpunas on the virtual stage. As the power supply team leader at the joint venture company RB Rail, he will inform you about the upcoming tenders, international tenders in the area of electrification and control, command and signaling. Mr. Snirpunas, we look forward to your presentation.
Thank you very much. Hello, participants. I'm very glad to be invited to present the Rail Baltica project. This is a bit different type of the subject I would like to present. This is project that is covering 3 Baltic states, and we have a huge opportunity for the different market participants to participate and to provide their services. So first of all, I would like to introduce about the scope of the project in general, and then I will introduce and go a bit in more details about electrification part of this project. So how it was mentioned, this project is stretching from Tallinn till Polish-Lithuanian border through all Baltic states, and it has also the branch line towards Vilnius. So this project is connecting all Baltic states, all Baltic states capitals, and also it has additional international stations in Parnu, also in Panevėžys, where all the high-speed trains will be stopping not only in the capitals but also in the additional international stations. So some technical details. So it will be a European gauge railway, the same type of the railway what is existing in Western Europe. So in technical terms, it is 1435 double-track railway. It will be equipped with the modern ERTMS signaling system. It will be electrified with the 2025 EV electrification system. The cargo trains, the maximum length of the cargo trains would be possible to accommodate of the 1050 meters. Axle load 25 tons, and the speed for the passenger trains is planned to be almost 250 kilometers per hour and 120 kilometers per hour for the freight trains. So at the same time, we are planning to build, let's say, lots of infrastructure needed to accommodate and to ensure the operation, flexible and reliable operation of the railway system. So just few numbers to show how big this project is. So in total, we are planning to build more than 100 railway viaducts, more than 70 road viaducts, 37 bridges, and some of them are extending more than 1 kilometer of the length. We're planning to have one railway tunnel near Riga, and also we have to accommodate all the requirements what is necessary for the environmental needs in order to ensure that as minimum as possible impact on the environment. So overall, we are planning to build almost 40 animal passages on the railway. Coming to the energy subsystem scope, I will introduce about the scope. This is only part of the Rail Baltica project, but let's say very important part because all the trains will be electrified, and we will need to accommodate high-speed electrified railway services. So energy subsystem is covering the let's say from the energy electricity sources, national transmission system lines, where we have all, let's say, very close collaboration to ensure that we receive sufficient feeding and sufficient capacity from the local high voltage feeding lines. If we talk about the energy subsystem as a part of Rail Baltica project, so it covers in general 4 disciplines. One of them is high voltage feeding lines, connecting traction substations with the public high voltage networks. Another part is the traction facilities, traction substations with the additional energy facilities. I will go a bit more in more detail later. Energy control command system, what is will be responsible for the controlling and ensuring the most, let's say, reliable and efficient power supply, and as well as the overhead catenary system, which is specific, let's say, construction component of the railway system, ensuring power supply for the electrified rolling stock. So in general, the most important objective of the energy subsystem of electrification for Rail Baltica is to ensure uninterrupted, reliable, and safe power supply for the electric traction vehicles. So the key strategic targets for the energy subsystem. So as I mentioned, this related to the safe operation and maintenance activities. At all times, all operation and maintenance activities have to be safe. All the safety shall be ensured, not, let's say, for the passengers, but also for the maintenance personnel. So at the same time, we need to cover all the railway operational needs. So we need to ensure that all trains that need power, they are powered, and the frequency of the trains is ensured. As I mentioned, for the railway maintenance needs, all the safety, cost efficiency, and modularity of the energy subsystem components has to be ensured to have the most optimum way to maintain and operate the railway. Also, we have analyzed from the life cycle cost perspective energy subsystem in order to ensure that we have the most optimum solution in terms of the capacity allocation, in terms of the reliable power supply, in terms of the, let's say, cost, capex and opex. And also it's very important part of the whole project, not only energy subsystem part, is that we are targeting to have the most, let's say, minimal impact on the environment. And electrification as a, let's say, one of the key components of the high-speed railways is one of the subjects that is, let's say, allowing to achieve those targets by, let's say, shifting the transport from the roads to the railways. What is the more effective way to transport passengers or goods. So by trying to find the most optimum solution for the electrification system, we are ensuring that we are having, let's say, all operational needs covered for the system. So we have implemented the operational plan covering the capacity needs for the passengers and for the freight trains. So in this occasion, I would like to mention that we are planning to have not only the day trains, but also night trains. And so we have a vision that we will be able to reach also Austria with the night trains from the Baltics, starting from Tallinn. So this could be quite interesting for the participants of the conference. So our project is not only, let's say, limited in Baltic states, although we are responsible and coordinating in the implementation of this project in 3 Baltic states, but from the operational perspective, we are looking beyond the Baltics, either towards Warsaw, towards Berlin, Vienna, and Prague. So for the analysis of the different traction technology options, we have used the data that we have acquired from the analysis of the different operational demands, not only the passengers, but also the freight demands. We have identified 4 types of the traction technologies. I will not go into more details on that because it is quite technical. Also, we have analyzed through the multi-criteria analysis the different complexity options, environmental impact costs, and we have identified that the most optimal solution for the Rail Baltica project is to use 2 times 25 kilowatt traction technology equipped with a static frequency converter technology. So this technology provides a lower capex and opex due to the limited number of the substations. It is more environmentally friendly. It has less impact on the environment because we have opportunity to use less traction substations, less facilities to be installed. Also, it is possible to use regenerative braking energy to supply nearby, let's say, trains which are accelerating at the same section. So in general, talking about the numbers of about the, let's say, scope of the energy subsystem. So in total, we have to electrify more than 800 kilometers of the double track high-speed railway. So in electrical terms, we're talking about approximately 2,000 kilometers of the catenary network, 50,000 of the catenary masts to be installed, and more than 4,000 tons of copper materials to be assembled and installed in the electrification. So we talk about 10 traction substations built across the Baltic states, 2 in Estonia, 3 in Latvia, and 5 in Lithuania. Also some numbers. So by introducing this project in the full capacity, we will increase the power consumption in all Baltic states approximately by 3%, less in Estonia and the most in Latvia. So where we are now, currently we are starting the procurement of the contractor for the implementation of the design and construction work for the electrification of the whole Rail Baltica project. And we are starting with the pre-qualification, which stage is including assessment of the tenders who will have sufficient competence and experience to participate in the following procurement procedures. So this year, second quarter, we're planning to start the pre-qualification phase. Next year, we are planning to have, let's say, deadline for the submission of the proposals, the prices. And by the next year, end of the next year, we are planning to sign the contract. So in other words, it will be the largest electrification project in Europe. So the market is ready. The market is understanding this process, and not only the big companies, but also, let's say, any size of the companies will be able to participate in this process and to provide their services. So we are acting as a public institution, and we are procuring all the services, all the work through the public procurement legal procedures. So all the suppliers who are intending to participate in any procurement in the Rail Baltica project are invited to check and to register on our website to receive all the newest information about upcoming procurements. It's not only about, let's say, electrification procurement, it's about any procurement what we are implementing. So we have all the deadlines have to be ensured in the procurement process, and we invite all the market participants to register and to be ready and to contact us if it is needed more information to be provided about different procurements or different stages of the project development. So thanks a lot for the attention, and I'm looking forward for the questions, if there are any, about, let's say, more details about electrification of Rail Baltica project. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having tried in relatively short time to give such a good overview on timeline, technologies, and scope. And I know, thank you very much, that you and your entire team are always available for potential interested suppliers to discuss possible details. And now we move on to the last part, to Lithuania. Dort kann ich jetzt meinen Kollegen Kęstutis Galusa begrüßen, der wegen der kurzfristigen Absage des litauischen Engineering-Verbandes mit der Präsentation eingesprungen ist. Lieber Kęstutis, ich übergebe dir gern das Wort.
Dankeschön. Grüß Gott, liebes Publikum. Also einige Worte über Litauen. Die litauische Wirtschaft wird vom verarbeitenden Gewerbe angetrieben, das den größten Sektor der litauischen Wirtschaft darstellt und rund 22% des Bruttoinlandsproduktes erwirtschaftet und die Lokomotive des litauischen Exports ist. Die Industriestruktur Litauens wird jedoch von den Kategorien dominiert, die keine Endprodukte, sondern Zwischenprodukte herstellen, wie zum Beispiel Komponente für verschiedene Anlagen. Und es gibt bei Unternehmen noch viel unausgenutztes Potenzial. Circa 80% der Gesamtkapazitäten bei Elektronik- und Elektrotechnikunternehmen werden ausgenutzt. Aber diese Zahlen zeigen zugleich, dass die litauischen Betriebe gut den Herausforderungen von Covid standhalten konnten, wettbewerbsfähig blieben und von der weltweiten Nachfrage gut profitieren können. Und die Aktualien von 2022 rund um Russland, Ukraine und Weißrussland, die ja mehr Unsicherheit in die Wirtschaft bringen, betreffen zum Glück die Elektronik- und Elektrotechnikbranche Litauens nicht so sehr stark, weil mit diesen Ländern die litauischen Unternehmen weder import- noch exportmäßig verbunden waren. Wichtigste Aktivitäten, wichtigste Produkte und Dienstleistungen der elektronischen, elektromechanischen Industrie Litauens sind Elektronikdesign, Dienstleistungen, Elektronikmontage, Prozessautomatisierungstechnik, Stromverteilungssysteme inklusive Stromverteilungsschränke, Kabelbau, Konfektion natürlich und last but not least die Laserindustrie, worauf Litauen sehr stolz ist. Eine Handvoll von Unternehmen im Lasertechnikbereich decken mehr als Hälfte des Weltmarktes im Picosekund Laserbereich. Und wo die Lesegeräte zur Anwendung kommen können. Das wissen Sie ja auch selber gut. Als Vertretung der Außenwirtschaft Austria in Litauen haben wir mit verschiedenen Anfragen österreichischer Unternehmen betreffend Litauen zu tun. Und bei der Vorbereitung auf dieses Webinar habe ich nochmals die Anfragen in Bezug auf Elektrotechnik und Elektronik gecheckt. Und unter den Bezugsanfragen von österreichischen Unternehmen dominieren in Litauen seit Jahren Anfragen in Bezug auf Kabelbau, Konfektion, Schaltschrankbau und Herstellung und auch Zusammenbau von Leiterplatten. Wie erwähnt, gibt es wenig Endprodukte, aber auf einige können litauische Unternehmen stolz sein, besonders in den letzten Jahren, wo Internet of Things modern, nützlich und populär geworden ist, gibt es in Litauen eine Unternehmensgruppe namens Teltonika, die alles Mögliche rund um Internet of Things herstellt, inklusive Modems, Gateways, Routers, Switches und so weiter, sowohl für Haushaltsbereich als auch für Industriebereich und auch für Automotive-Bereich. Wenn man zum Beispiel Kärcher Bodenkehrmaschinen benutzt, denkt man wahrscheinlich an das deutsche Unternehmen, aber weiß man nicht, dass diese Produkte von der Idee bis zum Endprodukt in Litauen entstanden sind. Als weitere Endprodukte kann die Kühlschrankproduktion, Laboröfen, Bau erwähnt werden. Und auch dann Investitionen von ausländischen Unternehmen. Es gibt genug Beweise, dass litauische Unternehmen des verarbeitenden Gewerbes immer mehr auf Forschungs- und Entwicklungswert legen und somit werden sie in die weltweite Wertschöpfungsketten eingebaut. Und deshalb sind besonders im letzten Jahrzehnt einige wichtige Unternehmen von ausländischen Investoren entstanden, wie zum Beispiel Deutsche Continental oder Hela, die Komponenten für ihre weltweiten Kunden liefern. Und auch ein österreichisches Beispiel haben wir auch. Und das österreichische Unternehmen TGW Logistics Group ist ein in Österreich ansässiges Unternehmen für hochautomatisierte, effiziente und zukunftssichere Lagerzentren. Und in Litauen hat das Unternehmen sein Engineering Center vor 5 Jahren gegründet, welches sich bewährt hat und erweitert wird. Und das waren die Schwerpunkte. In Bezug nochmals auf die Produktion soll man erwähnen, dass die litauischen Wirtschaftsindikatoren sich rasch dem EU-Durchschnitt annähern und steigende Arbeitskosten veranlassen die Unternehmen, sich auf die Entwicklung innovativer Waren und Dienstleistungen zu konzentrieren, anstatt sich auf die Lohnfertigungsdienste und billige Arbeitskräfte zu verlassen. Leider, man muss zugeben, dass das langsam in die Vergangenheit geht. Aber trotzdem gibt es noch genug Chancen für die Kooperation zwischen österreichischen und litauischen Unternehmen in dieser Branche. Dankeschön.
Ja, vielen Dank, Kestutis, dass du in diesem Überblick zusätzlich zu dem, was der Verband uns erzählt hätte, auch aus deiner Praxis die Felder dargestellt hast, die für österreichische Unternehmen schon bisher interessant sind und auch einen Testimonial zitiert hast. Wir würden uns natürlich sehr freuen, wenn da weitere solche Beispiele folgen würden. Und damit kommen wir jetzt zum Question and Answer Block. Let me now switch to the question and answer session and ask Mr. Kolk, Mr. Dlohi, and Mr. Schmirpunas to join us for this discussion session. Yes. So there have been questions which were on the positive and on the negative side. Let's start with the challenging side. We all know that there is a huge material shortage recently and that the recent price increases are enormous. How does that influence your current work or the work of your members, and how do you deal with it? I think this question goes to everybody. I would start with the North, with Mr. Kolk, to ask his views on it.
Yes, thank you. Yes, indeed, the component shortage is the real issue. It's not much we can do about it except to be as professional as possible with production planning, flexibility. So we have to reshuffle the orders, produce what we have components for, and also relationship with suppliers is very important. It's the fact of life that it's not the companies which are doing business, people which are doing business, and good relations between the purchasing and supply are also very, very important. Regarding the price hikes, of course, there are always changes, renegotiations, and so forth. Raw material prices have been going up globally, and it's not much we can do about it. So just to try to find the reliable suppliers. I think now it's a question more about the supply reliability to get the stuff. Maybe not always about the price. Price is of course sensitive issue for many sectors, but for many others, it's just getting things done is number one.
And excuse me, you have to add something, or?
No, I think that's about it. We have to do the best we can, and I believe we manage.
That's good to hear. And if we look at a specific company, Mr. Dlohi, what's your take on the challenges and your possible solutions to face them?
I wouldn't say that they are very huge problems. Especially we are not consuming enormous quantities, and I completely agree with Mr. Kolk, yeah, that business is between people, and if the relationship is strong, so deliveries are ensured. Price, yes, price is coming up, but you know, it's worldwide, so no, we just transfer our component price increase to the final client. We cannot absorb this for our clients. And yes, we cope with this. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. And to look at the extremely important Rail Baltica project. Of course, in your sector, construction price increases are looming, but specifically in the area of price increases and shortages of electrical and electronic components. Will that have an impact on the procurement of power supplies?
I think it's very, very topical situation nowadays, and it's to answer that, yes, it will have definitely impact on the Rail Baltica project on the price level, but I wouldn't say it will have impact on the implementation or deployment of this project. So it cannot impact in such a way that we will have shortages and we will not be able to, let's say, to continue this project. So only the price level, inflation, but the way out of the situation is the very close collaboration with the market to understand what are the different, let's say, possibilities to supply the material, what are the conditions that market would like to have in order to accommodate the situation. Because situation is not stable nowadays, and we will have long-term, let's say, agreements, long-term supply agreements, and we need to be flexible that the market, let's say, would agree to take those responsibilities and to supply necessary materials. So from our side, we see a really big challenge to find a possibility to cooperate with the market and to understand what market conditions would be able to take to supply them.
Thank you. There is one question specifically on Estonia, because Estonia is also well known in Austria as e-Estonia, as the country of e-government and perfect public digital services. In comparison, how do you judge the strengths of digitalization in the private sector and in industry applications?
Well, yes, we are rather famous for this e-Estonia. I believe that the fact that our government is digital is helping all industries, of course, because doing things digitally, signing contracts, doing reporting, a lot of things can be automated as well because they are digital. That helps all sectors, and including electronics. But if you look at the automation and digitalization, I think electronics industry has always been on the forefront there. I mean, you cannot really assemble electronics by hand these days. The board assembly has been automatic for decades, and we see more and more automation going into the final assembly as well. Likewise, electronic design has been digital. I mean, people don't design electronics on paper. It's been all done with CAD systems, and data is flowing from designers to manufacturers, also in digital format. Of course, there is still ways to go to implement more big data solutions, to implement more AI and so forth, and it's ongoing. But I would say electronics industry is really probably the most digitized industry among them all. Thank you.
Thank you. Like all the Baltics are well known for their digital feeling and for being close to technical issues. I want to close with a short question, and maybe other questions we leave for bilateral discussions. There has been a lot of talk that there is the current geopolitical situation puts at risk the idea that the Baltics are great locations for nearshoring, for investments. However, there have also been some requests that arrived with us that companies who have to leave the Russian or Belarusian market or Ukrainian market are now thinking about relocating their activities to the Baltic countries. Just a very short round. Do you think that there is a possibility that this trend also gives an advantage to the location in the Baltic countries? And I do a quick round about that. Mr. Schnirtunas, yes or no?
Yes, I think our project itself, it's not about, let's say, making, let's say, business, but providing services for the project. So the project itself will attract many companies and many suppliers to provide their services. And those suppliers also are very welcome to establish their, let's say, local facilities, construction sites, maybe some factories of some construction materials. And we really have very good conditions to establish those sites in all Baltic states.
Thank you. Mr. Lohi and Mr. Kolk, yes or no?
Yes, we are safe location and very prospective. Yes.
You agree, Mr. Kolk?
I would say yes. We actually saw a lot of Russian companies moving from Russia to Estonia before the war due to the difficulties of doing business over there, especially for smaller companies who are not part of military supply chain. So we've seen a lot of very smart Russians moving to Estonia over the last few years and establishing their own companies here. Now our government is a bit more wary about the newcomers from there, but yeah, we got a lot of smart people and a lot of good investments from there.
Okay, I think with that there would be more reason to discuss on, but the hour is over, so we have come to the end of our webinar session. Thank you so much to the Austrian audience for their questions and for their interest. Thank you to the speakers for this very interesting and open debate. And if we haven't fully answered all the questions that have been raised, no worries. We can always get back to them. You can contact us with further questions. Our speakers have kindly agreed to help us to give replies to more in-depth questions. And You will receive also all the presentations and the webinar link, as said already, afterwards. And beyond the specific topic, our Advantage Austria teams in Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia are always here to help you in all kinds of questions. Wir unterstützen Sie natürlich gerne bei allen Fragen, die die baltischen Länder betreffen. I think that's it for today. At the moment, we can only say auf Wiedersehen, goodbye und bis zum nächsten Mal.
Auf Wiedersehen.